Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 93. Today, me and Luke are just going to catch back up on a lot of stuff that we've kind of missed. We didn't really miss it real life, obviously. We stay up to date with our sports, but we've missed a couple of. It's been a little while since we put out a show, so we're just going to talk through some of that. Got some interesting topics today. An interesting amount of stadium talk. And then we have a little tough scene of the week, maybe a little say hello, and some other stuff like that. So we'll just get right into it. And basically, how this is going to work is we're just going to riff off of a lot of topics that we have for discussion. Some will be quick, some will probably be lead into some tangents. So, yeah, the first thing that we're going to start with is I think the last show was Jake's episode, but before that we did obviously the tournament preview and stuff. Well, UConn won.
The last time we just kind of like talked, like we didn't have like a specific premise. I mean, it had to be over a month ago, like 5-6 weeks ago, because the Jake episode was just baseball. One before that was just the tournament. So I mean, like some of this NFL stuff, it's like over a month old. But yeah, I mean, the last time that we recorded with Jake, both of our teams were still alive in March Madness. A few hours later, they were
both eliminated.
Yeah, just back to back. But yeah, UConn won. That's about it. I mean, I've said it a lot on my Twitter that it was just a boring tournament. I don't think there's a lot of like memorable moments. Like when you think back at this tournament, like what are we going to remember? It's just that UConn went back to back for the first time since whatever, and they covered every spread once again, just like last year. It's insane what they did. Just historically dominant.
It was pretty, that's all you can really say about it. It was historically dominant. And obviously you had the NC State Final Four, but they obviously never even posed a real threat. So Zach Edey in the championship game was dominant, just got super tired. But yeah.
It was like the LeBron meme where it was no help. That was Zach Edey in the title game.
But yeah, NFL looks a lot different, and we're not going to go over everything, but I don't even know if we've recorded since Saquon became an Eagle, Derrick Henry, Raven, all that stuff. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. Have we? I don't know if we've recorded since then.
I don't think so, because I remember like the bracket episode. You got in a Kenny comment.
Yeah, I got in a Kenny Eagles,
but that was about it.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs is a Packer. Aaron Jones is a Viking. A lot of running back movement.
Yeah. Baker stayed in Tampa. Chris Jones stayed in Kansas City. Joe Mixon went to the Texans. Daniel Hunter went to the Texans. Christian Wilkins is a Raider. Calvin Ridley and L'Jarius Sneed both became Tits. Brian Burns, Drew Lock, Devin Singletary, they all went to the Giants. That pretty much does it for the majors of free agency. Oh, but the big one, like a week ago, Stephon Diggs to the Texans. That was pretty important.
That was a little over a week ago, but it was like 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, that was a big trade. Texans have been busy this offseason.
Yeah, they probably have the best 3 wide receivers when healthy, I'd say.
You can make that argument for sure.
I can't think of 3 that are better than them.
I don't know who the Bengals third is, but I mean, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are pretty good 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, the third, it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, like, because you could say that about, with how good Tyreek Hill's been, you could say that he carries the weight, but you could say Tyreek Hill 1, Jalen Waddle 2, but their third at best is like Braxton Berrios. I mean, the Texans, they go Nico, Stephon, Tank Dell. I mean, that's pretty. Stephon as your number 2 is pretty crazy, but
that is. And I mean, Tank Dell's good, but I mean, he was just a rookie last year, and now he's coming off an ACL. But if you want to talk about best 5 receivers in the league, I mean, you have to go to the Packers, I think. They have 5 wide receiver 2s, no wide receiver 1s, but I mean, they'll
Yeah.
take that for sure.
Let's see. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's been there are a lot of teams getting new jerseys as well in the NFL. So that I guess we'll see some of that over the next coming weeks.
who did get jerseys? I think the Broncos did.
Broncos got new jerseys. They haven't released them yet. Lions apparently their jerseys got leaked.
Yeah,
I guess yesterday. Haven't
Jets.
seen them. Jets got new jerseys like they're
I don't
here.
like those. I think they downgraded. I liked their ones before.
I think they're all right. It's whatever.
I
It's
don't know.
not
I
even
think
that
the
big of a
last
difference.
like they've been going down in jerseys. Like the last jersey reveal they had, I think they got worse, and this one I think they got even worse again.
I don't know. I
So
kind
that's
of
just a
miss the
personal
just
opinion, but yeah, I know.
traditional Jets.
That's what I'm talking about. Like growing up, like Geno Smith, Mark
Yeah,
Sanchez era. Those were cool. I think they will come back at some point too,
yeah.
just down the line. You
They'll
know?
be like a throwback, and people will be like, "Wow, those are sick."
Yeah. Yep.
Um, NBA playoffs are kind of underway. Lakers beat Pelicans the other night in the play-in tournament. They're in. They are the seventh seed, cemented against the Nuggets. Pelicans lost, and they lost Zion, so they're probably going to lose to the Kings, who beat the Warriors. And that's the bigger news, probably, is that the Warriors dynasty is over. So,
Eh, I wouldn't say that. We'll come back and win a title again next year, probably. Regroup a little bit, get some different pieces.
I don't know. I think they're done. I think they were done last year,
Yeah.
and they just kept going forward with the same pieces, and everybody got older, and they didn't get better.
Yeah, I do have a take about that. Is that I think Draymond Green, if he doesn't retire this year, he's definitely retiring after next year. But I think he might just retire right now. Like he had a rough season on the court, and he's got a very successful podcast that he can just jump right into immediately after, and a great career. Probably he'll be a Hall of Famer.
No, yeah, he's a Hall of
Probably.
Famer.
Um, Klay Thompson is. I mean, he is. He's a bad player now.
He's
Curry's
washed.
still good, but I mean, yeah, the big three is it's tough.
It's
It's
just
tough
the
right
big
now.
one
Yeah,
now. It's just Curry.
yeah.
I wouldn't be
It's like the
surprised if
Kendrick
they.
Lamar song.
I wouldn't be surprised if they move on from, if Draymond retires, then move on from Clay and just try and get younger veterans and try and build around that with Curry with what time he has left, so at least they're still competitive. But I think it's over. Um, yeah. Uh, so yeah. And then Kobe White. We were talking about him last night. He dropped 42. They eliminated the Hawks. They'll play.
That's a fake game.
They'll play the
I
Heat,
hate that.
who they'll have a great chance against now because Jimmy Butler's hurt, out for weeks.
It's still Heat culture. You forget that. It doesn't matter who's injured and who's not. It's still Heat culture.
Maybe
Jaime
for a
Jaquez will
play-in,
drop 40.
but uh, they'll get
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely
yeah,
annihilated.
yeah. That if they do win, I mean, whichever team wins this game, it doesn't matter. They're just gonna. I hate to say that about the Heat playing the Celtics, but like if they don't have their best player and you're going against, one of the best teams of this decade so far, that's not a good recipe for success.
No, it's
No matter
not.
what your culture is. Baseball started too. I know we did our preview for that, but we're 3 weeks into the season now. So, I mean, man, yeah, 3 weeks. Cardinals are okay.
I said
Their starting
Cardinals are
pitching is
probably
better.
just mid on the list of
Yeah,
things. If we're going down the list, Cardinals are probably just mid.
yeah. I mean, if you look at it right now, our offense is definitely underperforming. Some of the big guys like Gorman, Goldie, Jordan Walker have been underperforming. And then if you look at the pitching staff, I think there's some guys that are overperforming right now. Like Lance Lynn has been incredible, phenomenal. Steven Matz has been well, up until yesterday, phenomenal. And so I think that over time that'll probably just even out. Like the offense will get a little better, pitching will get a little worse, record stays the same.
Great.
Yeah,
Sounds
but at
wonderful.
least we're not ass like last year. So I'll take a mid year just this year and then get back on track next year.
Caitlin Clark drafted to the Indiana Fever.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about we opened the show with UConn won the men's tournament. I think this year you could make an argument that the women's tournament was more enticing, more thrilling, better overall than the men's tournament. It was just more competitive. There were more storylines. There, you could make the argument there were more stars too, but I don't know. It was definitely fun. I watched more women's basketball in a 3 week span than I've ever probably in the rest of my life combined. So, I mean, there's that. Yeah, drafted to the Fever.
Yep.
The introductory press conference yesterday, that reporter got all weird.
Yep.
And then
Very horny.
Yeah, and then released an apology using the word "oafish." So I mean that just makes it worse, in my opinion. Like when you start using words like that, and you're like, just say, "I'm sorry, I messed up." Like you don't have to say, "I got oafish." Like no one even knows what that means.
Nope.
And it's a corny word to begin with. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for. I never thought I'd say these words. I'm a little bit excited for the WNBA this year.
I'm interested to see what happens because, and by that I mean like meme culture is picking on and adapting to women's college basketball. All of a sudden, we saw that during the tournament when like some of the better women's players were getting made fun of because they would be struggling, and you never see that with the girls' game.
People getting mad online about a call by the refs at the end of the
Yeah, you
game.
never
Yeah.
saw that during the women's game. All that does, all the haters, all the people picking at the refs and everything, that literally only just shows that people cared and people were tuning in. Like that's all the stuff that happens with the men's game. If somebody, like Klay Thompson the other night went 0 of 10, and there's all these memes of him, bricking shots and all this stuff. Well, they were doing the same thing for like
JFK,
Haley
if Klay
Van
Thompson
Lith,
was the shooter.
when she was not able to score at all, and that was like, I feel like that was like a first time for everything.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you wanted equality. Here you go.
yeah, and that's what it looks like, and that's what it should look like. So
Yeah,
I think
exactly.
it was a good thing. It was a good thing, and now like I saw Caitlin Clark too. It was good that everybody, they saw her contract details, and people were really blown away by that. She'll make about the same as an accountant. At like
First year accountant.
out of college, but
3 years
she's
I'll be
also
making
about
say.
to sign a lucrative 8-figure deal with Nike, so over 10 million. So there you go.
Yeah, and gets her own shoe, which
Yeah,
I don't know how many women's basketball players have ever done that before, but I'm going to say probably none,
yeah, I have no idea.
or at least none for over 7 figures. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I've said it before. This could be like the Michael Jordan. Like it really just captivates an audience, introduces them to a sport that they weren't really familiar with, other than like diehard fans, and that a player that casuals can rally behind, and get introduced to the game that way. So that might be me. But it'll be fun to watch some of the games because I know like a lot of the other players, like Angel Reese went to the draft too.
Yeah, you'll know a lot of recent players.
Yeah,
Exactly. You'll know
so
some past players too that you just saw here and there, but whatever.
yeah.
Up next, Juju Smith-Schuster showed his dick and balls online. So
Some of the greatest players, like future Hall of Famers, Antonio Brown, Chris Jones. It's happened to the best of us. Not the best of us, but the best
Well,
of them.
I think it's a former Steeler wide receiver just thing to do. Chris Jones wasn't his fault, but
Well,
AB
kind of.
clearly had his dick out in that pool, and Juju clearly had his dick and balls out on that Snapchat. On that snap, that's all you can say. It was just
Yeah,
out. So
I don't know how you can like the Chris Jones one. Like he took a tumble and the pants got pulled back and whatever. He tried to hide it, but
yeah, and he had to pick it up like a rock. But other than that,
he's picking up like a log, like building a house with it. Oh my god! But like Juju, like you take the picture, you have to like look at it, like at least glance at it before you post it and be like, oh, like whoops, but let's retake that. Like that has like you just look at that picture and you're like, he did it intentionally, which is just weird.
had to, yeah, and it was a
Yeah.
weird moment, weird thing for him to
Also,
do.
another Steelers player. I don't know what's been posted on it, but Le'Veon Bell did create an OnlyFans too. So
Yeah, I heard about that.
I haven't seen any of
It's
his
probably like
OnlyFans
his
yet,
rap.
but I mean, it could. I mean, it could. He could have done the same thing too. So I
I
mean,
guess we
just
just
I
need
mean,
Big
something
Ben
about
then.
yeah. Well, I mean, he did it just not online, but I mean, he did it against people's will. So he showed it. He showed it. I guess it's just a Steelers thing to do.
Okay. Next up was Cardinals are probably just mid. Kind of went over that a little.
Yeah, we
Blues
did.
missed the playoffs, and I think they were what 6 games over 500, or was it 8?
Uh, 4.
4.
Finished 4. We lost last night in fake hockey, the shootout to end the season. Yeah, I mean it just sucks. And then you have teams like in the Eastern Conference, like the Islanders. They're not even a wild card team. Let me just look real quick. They're 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 39-43.
Yeah,
They're the 6th seed.
that does suck.
So,
That's
um,
kind of like the East and West NBA playoffs this year. Like the West. I mean, the Warriors were what 10 games over 500, and they were the 10 seed or something like that. And I
they
mean,
were yeah. Wow.
and then the 8 seed Heat. I mean, they were above 500, but
They were 10 games above 500.
yeah,
The Heat.
yeah. It was just the wildly good records this year, all around. But
Yeah, there was a lot of bad teams. And I have a feeling it's kind of going to be the same thing in the MLB too. Like if you just start off like the Marlins are really bad, the Rockies are really bad, the White Sox really bad. The A's actually haven't started off as bad as almost everyone thought, but they're still not a good team either. So you could see
yeah,
some
some of those
inflated records.
White Sox stats are pretty wild.
Oh my goodness, dude, they've had a historically bad start to the year. I
Yeah.
mean, they kind of deserve it. Not the players, but like the franchise deserves it. After keeping that general manager around for like 15 years when he didn't win anything, um, and their owner. But speaking of some, local, not even speaking of local stuff, but it just sounded cool to transition that way. Battlehawks, they're back. They're two
Still
and one
good.
so far. Um, you
2 and
know,
1.
yeah, we got Adrian McCarron back. We got a lot of our players back, like Butler. Um,
Marcel Aitman's a beast.
yeah,
That wide receiver.
yeah, he is. Um, so yeah, that'll be fun. Another home game this weekend. I'll be going in a couple weeks. I'm excited for that. Never been to the Dome before. Um,
Wow. Interesting.
I have just not for a football game.
Mm,
So it'll be
gotcha.
fun to see the atmosphere. Um, yeah, I mean it's been fun to just turn on some football and have a team to root for.
Yeah, I know it is
Um,
nice, and then just a little because it's nice that like if we didn't have a team, would not care about this UFL hardly at all. But since we have a team, I pay a lot more attention to it. Um, let's see here. Let's start stadium talk. Uh,
A's,
uh,
Oakland.
We can
Or should we say
start either.
Sacramento?
Yeah, we'll start. We can start with the Athletics. They're gonna move. They're going to move.
Yeah, I mean, we've known that for a while. It's just like official now. John Fisher, the owner, is trying to get Las Vegas, the city, the taxpayers to pay for the entire stadium, even though he hasn't invested shit into the franchise for 2 decades. And now he's finally getting his way. He's moving to Las Vegas, and now he's not wanting to pay for his own stadium. Um, kind of, I don't shallow, I guess. He's a scumbag, so I guess I don't know what you expect from it. But yeah, they're not going to be able to move until 2027 or 2028. Like that's not the stadium is not going to be ready in Vegas until then. But their contract at Oakland with their stadium expires after this season. So they kind of just like had to find a place to play, and they're going to go to the minor league stadium in Sacramento. So, I guess kind of Oakland can kind of still make the drive. I don't know who gets the profits from, you know, the fans in Sacramento, but if Oakland fans, if the profits don't go to John Fisher, you might see him start showing up for the next few years just to, enjoy some A's baseball before they move states.
Yeah, it's all messed up. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see a baseball team in Vegas. I hate for it to happen this way, but it's going to happen this way. There's really not a whole lot you can do about it. It is interesting that they're going to be playing at a minor league team, like, facility or whatever. Actually might help, because they have nobody going to the games really right now. So stadium won't be full, obviously, even at the minor league, but it's not going to look as bad. But then again, you'll be like,
Yeah.
it'll be kind of like when the Blue Jays played in Buffalo. You're like, what is really going on here? But I don't know.
Offensive stats will be inflated a little bit. Actually, they
Yeah,
might move the fences back though, just because they're going to be there for a couple years, not just a season or a half season at that.
Okay. Mizzou, did you see this yet? Have you seen the new stadium renderings?
I did. I saw it today. I actually just wrote it down on my kiss it goodbye at the current look at Mizzou Stadium, but that's a really stupid kiss it goodbye. So, yeah, I think they're just expanding kind of where the hill is.
Yeah, the north
they're
end
gonna
zone.
build some suites, which I would have preferred they just build like
Regular
regular
seats. I
seats
know,
so
because
they
we
could get
barely
more
fill up the
capacity.
south end zone.
Yeah, like we already have suites on the other side. Like, and I know people will spend money to go buy them, but like, it would be so much cooler just to pack the stands more and get more fans into the stadium. I
I
mean,
agree.
the atmosphere would be better. But it will look a little cooler that we have like a bowl stadium and not have that big opening on the side. Like the hill is cool, but like we're an
No,
SEC
yeah, it
team.
looks really nice. It kind of reminds me of like Arizona State or something. But like it looks nice. It's not going to be done, I don't think, till 2026. So we will have graduated, I guess, when by the time it's done. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll
Is
have to
that when we
come
play
back.
Kansas or is that
We
2025?
play Kansas in 2025 at home. So
Okay. So it won't be done by then.
yeah,
Well,
it'll probably be in progress, so that'll be ugly. But whatever. 250 million going to it. I'm sure a big chunk of that is from that anonymous donor. Probably
yeah,
just putting a
Stan
bunch of
Kroenke.
that. We also don't have an AD yet, so that's interesting. Still, that we're
Yeah.
doing this without an AD, just leaving it
Uh,
up to the board of curators. Do we even need an AD if we're gonna just
no,
use this
you
board
don't.
of curators?
It's kind of like having a president. Like America doesn't really need a president because, like, with the the Congress and the executive branches of government, like the departments and stuff, the president really doesn't do a whole lot other than foreign relations and stuff like that, and is a face. But like it feels good to have one person you can point to and be like, yeah, they control everything. That's kind of what the AD is.
Yeah,
You know,
you don't really need it though.
no,
So yeah,
you can get away without having one.
yeah, it does look nice. I'll say that. It'll be a big change. A lot of changes over Mizzou Stadium just within the within this decade. So yeah,
They're investing a lot into the football program,
yeah,
which I mean could be big. Could be big for Drink.
definitely. So I guess let's just continue some good old fashioned stadium talk. Did you see that Northwestern? So they're building a new stadium. They're tearing down their old one, building a new one. Um, but it's not going to be done for a few years as well. So Northwestern is going to be playing their games at their practice field next to the Great Lake. Now, right now, there's like no stands there really at all. It's literally just the practice field. But they're supposedly going to put in like a few thousand seats worth of bleachers, I guess. Um, but yeah, they're
Probably
going to just
struggle to
play
fill
their
that.
games at this practice field next to the lake.
Oh
It's
boy.
quite the visual.
Imagine
It's very pretty, but it like you're like, how is this a Big Ten school? What? I just hope
yeah.
it's an NCAA 25. That's what I hope. It'll be funny if you
That would
just
be
play
funny.
at the
And
practice field.
in a couple years when Iowa goes there, oh my goodness, an Iowa Northwestern game at a practice field. Goodness gracious.
I could like,
Sign
what
me
if
up for
some of the
that.
punts go into the lake, like
That
Iowa's punts?
that'd be awesome.
That would be such a sicko moment. So
It'd be an all-time moment. Like that clip would just be shown forever. The guy punting it into the lake.
that'd be on like that'd be one of the things that no context college football would post. Like once
In the
every
off
2 weeks.
season.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
off season for the rest of his life. So, um, here's another thing: stadium talk. Chiefs and Royals didn't get their stadium money since we've been gone. So
Funny.
we'll
Good
see
on
what
the people of
happens.
Kansas City for voting that down. They're
Yeah.
saying, you know what, you want a new stadium, pay for your own damn stadium. And I'm especially with Clark Hunt because I mean this guy, this asshat, I mean he's got one of the greatest teams of all time, the greatest player of all time. I mean he's won the last 2 Super Bowls, 3 out of the last 5. I mean this is a good old fashioned dynasty that he has going
Yep.
right now in the NFL, the most profitable league maybe in the world. I don't know if there's like a soccer league that is more profitable. But consistently the last 2 seasons, which they've won the Super Bowl in, the player rankings of like the facilities and stuff, they're bottom 3 both years, and like weight room, like health and fit, like all the facilities and stuff, locker room, bottom 3 because he doesn't invest anything in it. And you have to know this guy is getting millions upon hundreds of millions of dollars every year from this great team that he has, and he's just not investing it. And now I mean, you see this a lot whenever a owner wants to build a new stadium entirely, that they'll ask the city for money. Like the Royals wanted to build a new stadium in downtown Kansas City, asking for money. That happens a lot, but you don't really see it a lot for just renovations to a stadium. And that's exactly what Clark Hunt was doing. He was like, hey, can we use your tax dollars to pay for renovations in this stadium? And the fans were like, no, how about you just use our ticket money and our revenue money from the merch you sell us um, to upgrade,
Exactly.
your stadium, because we don't care what the facilities are. I mean, that should be you. You're that cares about that. So good
Yeah.
on the people of Kansas City for voting that down. It is kind of, I mean, the Royal Stadium would have been cool to be downtown, but that kind of sucked a little bit. But yeah,
Yep.
at least for the football one, good
Yeah.
on them.
And Cardinals want money from the city to help pay for some of their new stadium renovations as well.
Yeah, I think that reports are saying that number was way too high. Like it was reported that it was like $250 million that they were asking, and they're like, "Oh, that's like 90% of the renovations." But I think Bill DeWitt III said something about how they were just going to ask for 75% of the renovations to be covered. So maybe it was just a negotiating tactic, like start high so that we can maybe end up at 75%. But I mean, still
That's still a
another.
lot. Because I don't know, when they
That's a lot of
built
money for
the new
renovations.
Busch Stadium, they actually paid for it mostly themselves.
Yeah,
But
yeah, they did.
I'm surprised that they're asking for all this money, the Bush family.
But also like $250 million. That's a lot. That could build you a whole stadium, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
it wouldn't be like a top quality
Well,
stadium, but for renovations, like I
that's what
wonder what they're
Mizzou is
planning to
putting
do.
into just the north end zone. So
Yeah, but a football stadium and baseball stadium are a little bit different.
they're really not all that much different though nowadays.
I
Their
think.
structure is, but like these new baseball stadiums, a lot of them they like their capacities are they're coming back up. They have these unique outfield things. I don't know. Obviously they're not the same price as these new modern NFL stadiums that are over $1 billion most of the time, but still very expensive. I feel like, which that's just modern stadiums now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I guess that's true. I think the A's stadium. Um, I think I remember seeing it was like going to cost $300 million. A's stadium price. Oh, never mind. 1.5 billion. Okay, never mind. I don't know where I got that number from. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Um, yeah. Oh, it's $1.5 billion is what it's planning to cost. So maybe I was way off on that. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. The St. Louis one is yet to be voted on. I think people in St. Louis are a little bit more willing to put their tax dollars, especially
For
into
the
the
Cardinals,
Cardinals.
I think it could actually.
Um,
If it wasn't
yeah,
the Cardinals, I don't know. But
like we
if
saw
it's
with
the
the
Cardinals,
Rams, we knocked
yeah,
that down. But um, the Cardinals, I think, are a little bit more. But this is also a bad time to do it. Like we got a sour taste in our mouth after last year, and haven't had a ton of success the last decade. Outside of a couple years with you know a 17 game winning streak and a legendary season by Pujols and Yachty. um,
yeah, I don't
Other
know.
than
I
that,
I
that's
feel like
that's
since
about the
it's
only
the
success we've
Cardinals,
had.
though, like the city just loves the Cardinals so much. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
So
like
I don't
all
know.
we
We'll see.
have.
We'll see how it does. I really don't know. I could see it going both ways. So I
Yeah.
I, don't know how it's gonna work out.
We'll skip that for the other segment. Um, Otani off the hook in the eyes of the law.
Yeah, yeah. Officially, the court they charged Ippy with Ipe. I think is how you say it. They charged him with fraud and theft and I mean, some of the numbers are coming out. They're pretty crazy. Like he won $142 million betting. Like
Pretty cool.
that's
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
pretty cool. I mean, if you don't look at the 183 that he lost, I mean, if you just say, oh yeah, I
It's
won
pretty
142
cool
million
still.
dollars betting. But yeah, I mean, $40 million in debt. Like my God, um, that's insane. And yeah, he's going to jail for a while. And I mean, I don't think that Otani was betting. I believe the law here. I believe the investigation. I think Otani, he just seems like a really good dude. And Ipe has kind of been like his best friend since he's come over here from, Japan. Because he can't really communicate with anyone except for him. So you have to have that level of trust, with a guy like that. And it sounded like Ipe just kind of betrayed that trust and betrayed Otani. And I feel bad for him because that's a lot of money taken from you. He was already kind of hosed on his contract a little bit with the Angels. He was only making like $6 to $8 million a year. He was like the best player in the world, um, and now he's getting more money stolen from a guy who he would trusted probably with his life. Um, but it also would be funny if it came out where it was like, oh yeah, he was gambling.
Yeah.
Which gambling we'll get to another gambling thing later in the show, but
Yeah. I'll say this. I feel bad for Otani just like you do, in the same sense that you do. But I think he's at that point in his life where he can communicate with other people. I mean, like we said, we've mentioned it before, like Trout was like, nah, he can speak pretty fine. Maybe not super intellectually, like you would need to answer questions from reporters like day in and day out English, but like he can talk fine. I think he did just misplace trust in Ipe, and Ipe sold it pretty well. And maybe deep down, I'm sure Ipe still felt like they were still best friends. even though that he
Yeah.
was doing this.
Yeah.
When you spend that much time with somebody like that, and I don't know, but it was a tough
It does
scene for
seem
Shohei.
pretty convincing evidence too against Ipe, and some of the other stuff that was coming out, like he said, oh, he used to work for the Red Sox as a translator, and they were like, we never hired you at
Yep.
all.
The
He said he
graduation from Riverside, UC Riverside.
UC Riverside, yeah,
No, you didn't.
didn't. Yep. So it's a lot of little things like that, and then it's like adding up, and it's like, yeah, he probably is lying about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and probably I know the story thing shifted. Like one day he said, "Oh yeah, like Otani was just paying him off for me," and then the next day he was like, "No, I stole it from him." And I think probably what happened there is that he was still like trying to get away with it. Like in the moment, he's like, "Oh yeah, Otani was he was paying it off for me. Like I promise I won't do it again." Blah blah blah, thinking he's going to be fine getting away with it. And then probably somebody in Otani's camp or in his camp said like, hey, like Otani could get suspended, like just by paying off your debts. So like you need to tell the truth, or like Otani's going to take the brunt of it, and then his conscience might have just taken control. Then like, you know what, Otani has been a good friend of mine, and like this is all my fault, and like it's probably going to come out eventually that it is all my fault. So I'm just going to admit to it right now and switch up my story and quit lying about it. That's what I've been feeling happened.
Yeah, who really knows? Um,
Yeah.
that could be an interesting like 30 for 30, like 15 years down the line.
Oh yeah. What
Like when he's
happened with
retired, what
Mazuhara?
really happened? It actually might be like 20 years down the line. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
like right when he gets out of jail or something, and they
yeah.
do like ESPN
Oh
does an
my
interview with
God,
him.
yeah, that would
How
be
was your time in prison?
incredible to talk to him after he got out of prison. After Otani's like maybe Otani is literally like cemented as like top 3 baseball player ever, and we have this documentary 30 for 30. That'd be great.
Yeah,
So
that would be cool. One more thing about stadium talk that we don't have written down, but I remembered it. Hockey, Arizona
oh yeah,
Coyotes are going to Salt Lake City, which I mean, you kind of saw it coming just the last few years. I mean, the stadium got so bad in Arizona that they literally had to move out of it.
I think they were playing in Tempe,
Yeah, they were
right?
playing in a college stadium, Arizona State, that had like 5,000 capacity. Not even 5,000. It was probably like 2,000 capacity. Stadium. They've been playing there
Probably
for the
more than
last two
enough.
years. Um, so I mean, like whenever they announced the move, like yeah, we're going to Salt Lake City. I think everyone was kind of like, yeah, like we're not surprised.
I
Um,
didn't even see, maybe because I'm just so like I have nothing in common with Phoenix, on my Twitter timeline. Like I didn't even see any like people like, oh man, they're leaving. I just didn't see any of that. They still have the Suns, they still have the Diamondbacks, they still have the Cardinals. Like they still have all this stuff.
they still have college teams too.
Yeah, like I
Arizona
didn't even
State.
see like any like, oh man, the Coyotes are leaving us, which I thought
Yeah.
was interesting.
Well, that's why it's a little bit different. Like in a city like Oakland, who they got stripped of their football team, they got stripped of their basketball team, and now like all they have left is the A's, and they're about to get stripped of that. Like that just it hurts. You feel for those fans, especially like the ones that grew up with all three, and now like they're all gone, and you're like, man, like that has to suck. But like Arizona, they're gonna be fine. Like the other three teams, they're doing fine. Their stadiums are good. They're gonna be there a while.
Yeah.
So
I I get that the Warriors moved like across the bridge, but like
they're still kind of there.
that's literally just like what, an extra 15, 20 minutes with the traffic with the bridge over to San Francisco.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's still like it's not in your town anymore.
Yeah,
Like
I
it was in
guess.
Oakland. You could say, "Oh, yeah, we have the
It's still
Warriors,"
right
but now
there though,
it's
I feel like. Like I feel like that's I mean, that's not that big of a difference, say if like the Rams would have built their new stadium where in Fenton or whatever, like that
well, it
giant
still would have been.
spot
Yeah,
where Amazon is now. That big
yeah,
park by where
yeah. I know what you're talking about.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah, Fenton. That was where
by
the
Wallace.
grounds for the new stadium were gonna
Yeah.
fall. All right, you want to do some tough scene, or you want to get anything Into anything else before we do some tough scene?
I
We
think
could
that's
always do
it.
it
I
after.
think that's a good little riff right there.
Yeah, a little catch up. All right, tough scene of the week. Jontay Porter. This is a tough scene for him. Tough scene for Mizzou and Mizzou basketball. Tough scene for the NBA in general. Tough scene for sports books. Just a tough scene all around. So Jontay Porter, probably everyone knows what happened, but I'll just give a quick rundown. He got caught betting against himself or and giving tips to other bettors about his health status and injury status. Um, and he got banned for life from the NBA, which I thought was, I mean, I was a little bit surprised by it. I fully expected a suspension, and I was expecting, at least a full season suspension. Like next year he was going to be suspended fully, and he was kind of one of those fringe players anyway, where it's like if you get suspended for a year, you might just be done anyway because people don't really want to. It was kind of like Colin Kaepernick, like when he was kind of like falling off a little bit, and then he did that, and it's like, okay, now if we sign him, like we just have all that extra baggage. Probably would have been the same case for Jontay Porter, but I mean, no team has to worry about that anymore. He's not allowed back in the league. Um, in the statement that the NBA put out, it got even tougher for Jontay Porter because they were going in depth about some of the bets. I think one time he tipped off a bettor and said, like, hey, like I'm actually really injured and I'm not going to be able to play tonight. And so the guy like took the unders on all of his stats before it was announced that he was going to be out. And so, of course, I think he ended up winning like $1 million on that bet or the parlay or whatever. And then Jontay Porter also himself put in bets on NBA games, on Raptors games, which is the team that he played for. And one of them included betting that the Raptors would lose, which is a really, really bad look. Like you see some of like the people that have had gambling problems, like Pete Rose in the MLB. Um, it appeared that he always bet on his team to win. Whenever he did bet on his team, it's like, yeah, I'm going to bet on the Reds to win. I'm going to bet on the Phillies to win. But whenever you bet on your team to lose, like that's a really, really bad look. And also, like right at the end of that, right after they got done listing all the bets that he made, they said all the bets lost. And so it was just like one final slap in the face. Like, yeah, not only did you do this, but you also suck at it too. Like you ruined your career and your salary all in one time, one move. Um, yeah, just a we're talking about like some of the tough scenes of the year. This is up there. This is up there.
True.
Um,
Yeah. For lots of things too. Like you mentioned all those things, and like just to dive in on how big of a tough scene it is for the NBA. Like, they have to like this. They can use a player like Jontay Porter, ban him for life. Because like you said, he's a fringe player. He has a big name. His name is attached to Michael Porter, um, and his success. And it's just an NBA name right now. But like, all right, here's the blueprint, guys. If you do this, by the way, this is what's going to happen. Banned for life. And then sports books are just shady. They have always been shady, and they'll continue to be shady. And they're probably like shit because they know that this goes on in all the leagues probably. It's not like wide, like it's only happening a little bit, I think. And I think they've done a pretty good job of policing it and catching it, but there's definitely some that's definitely still goes on, but definitely a big
NFL's tough on
warning.
it too.
Yeah.
But like some of the players who get suspended in the NFL for it, like they don't even bet on the NFL. They just bet like in the team facility on other sports, and
Yep.
that's illegal. Um, like this, I mean, this is just like an extreme thing altogether. And then I did see, because I know people are talking about, well, all these sports leagues are advertising, these sports betting websites and stuff, so it's easy for a player to fall into it. And this is a tweet from @QuinnSTL Cards. Great account, by the way. Like one of the few Cardinals fan accounts that is like not consistently negative about the team. or just consistently irrational. Like he's a rational account, usually positive. Good follow if you're a Cardinals fan. He said, I've never understood the players bet on their games because sports leagues promote gambling argument. He said, beer companies have been the biggest sponsors out there since Abner Doubleday was born, the inventor of baseball in like the 1800s. But you don't see anybody dumb enough to take the field with a .12 BAC. I mean, it's just, you have to know better. I know, even though like they are advertising them a lot and making a lot of money off these advertisements, like they make it very clear in their guidelines. Don't bet on this. Like, don't bet on your sport. Like, and if you want to bet on other sports, don't do it on team property. We don't want to be associated with it at all. They made that very clear, and you know, if you can't follow the rules, you know, you're not allowed to play.
Yeah, I really do think it is just as cut and dry as that. Like, it's just a rule, you know? It's just the rule. It's to avoid, you know, the main thing that, you know, the big red flag with Jontay is that he was betting on his own team, you know, to lose games and stuff. That
Yeah,
shit's crazy.
That's the worst of
You
the
can't
worst that
have
you can
that. The
do.
NBA has to lay down the hammer. If that happened in the NFL, you know, oh shit, well, the longest yard. That's a great example. Paul Crew, you know, he had
Yeah.
some guys that said that they might kill him if he doesn't throw that game. Well, he throws that game, huge game, playoff game, and you know, people looked at him differently for the rest of their life. And the NFL instantly handed out a ban in that movie. That's basically what the NBA did. You have to do that.
Well,
You're
didn't Paul
ruining
Crew
the
also go to
integrity of the
jail because
game.
of it too?
Yeah.
Or was that like money laundering or something? It had something to do with it. Just spiraled from there. But yeah, like, yeah, keep going. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's that's just, you just can't have it. You can't even almost have it. You know, it just messes with the integrity of the sport. Um, and you know, we're always fighting this battle of people saying shit's rigged all the time. So you know, with that on top of this, you just can't have it. You just gotta have it in the rearview mirror. You gotta drop the hammer. So I'll never, you know, the leagues make a ton of money off of gambling. It's, you know, at the end of the day, it's for the fans, really. Um,
Yeah, it's not for the players to do, and
it's just
especially like,
not.
yeah, like if you're betting on other sports or whatever, like the Lions players that got suspended last year, even though it was in team facilities, I thought that was kind of stupid. Like,
Yeah,
there,
no,
it
I
has
agree.
nothing to
He's a
do with
fan at
them.
that point.
Yeah, he's a fan at that point. But like when you start betting on the sport and especially on your team and your stats, like you just that's screwing up the integrity of the game. That's screwing up the integrity of those bets for other people that are placing them. Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's all around. It's fraud, basically. I mean, it could be interpreted that way. So, yeah, I mean, you have to lay down. And that's why I said I was fully expecting at least a year-long suspension. And you know, the ban for life it's a very strict one, but I mean when you're screwing up the integrity of the game like he was, it kind of makes sense.
Kind of justified. I agree.
Yeah.
It's, you just gotta lay down the hammer. It sucks, but there you go. I mean, he could probably play in a league overseas or some shit like that. He's definitely good enough. I mean, he developed
He's in
himself
the
into the
NBA.
NBA. He should have
Yeah.
stayed at Mizzou another year. But you know,
Also, he looks like completely different. He looks like a different person than the one that played at Mizzou.
he just has facial hair. I feel like now.
Yeah, and he cut his hair. It was a little longer at
But
Mizzou, I think. But the good news for him now is that he is now free to bet on the NBA with no
there you
consequences.
go.
Boom.
Just like that. Make your
Yeah.
money back.
Break those shackles, baby. Um,
That is a funny way to look at it. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay. My tough scene was last night while I was deadlifting. I was using a metal trap bar. Never used one of those before. It's like, so like a hex bar is like one of those deadlift bars that goes all the way around you, makes it easy to balance or whatever. Metal trap bar, there's like no back. It's just like one bar in the front, and it was like throwing off my balance. But that wasn't really the big thing. But I had a glove on one hand, and not a glove on the other. Glove on one hand because I have like some hand wounds that are still healing. But I'm probably gonna have to put one on the other hand now because it ripped a huge chunk of skin off my left palm last night on the metal from the metal bar, and it actually hurts like a bitch. Not gonna lie, but it
Well,
just
yeah.
made me feel like hashtag soft hands. I just got back into lifting. That was yesterday was the completion of the first full week, but that was a big humbling moment. Like you have soft hands now, buddy. So, but yeah, it just completely ripped the skin off my hand. It was some fuckery. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I do have a question about this bar. So you said it was kind of like a hex bar, but just the bar in the front. So are you still lifting from the sides? Like the hex
Yes,
bar, you
still
lift from the
lifting from the
sides.
sides, but it's not even like straight. It's like slightly slanted for some reason, and I didn't
What's
understand
it
that
called?
part either. I think it is called metal trap bar.
Metal trap. I'm gonna look up a picture of this because
Yeah,
I'm a little bit confused. Oh, this just looks like a hex bar.
yeah, but there's no back.
Um. Oh, I think I see it here. Bellsofsteel.com.
Oh
Oh,
shit.
so it's like the hex bar, but it's missing one of the. So obviously a hexagon has 6 sides.
Yeah,
This just has like an open side.
it
Like it
has an
has
open.
five.
It's an
It has
opening in
five
the
of them.
ring, but the one at the rack looks different than the ones that I'm looking at on Google Images. It's like slanted for some reason. I don't understand the slant in the bar that you like pick up from the sides to where you actually do the lift part.
Hmm. This just seems like really dumb anyway, because like for the one that does have that I was just describing, that just has that one piece of the hexagon missing in the back. Like, why not just put the piece of the
I
hexagon
don't
in the back
don't
and
know.
make it much more convenient? Like, I don't,
Don't
I
get
don't,
it.
I
I
don't
don't
get
know.
that. Yeah, engineering, engineering. Some people think it's cool.
I don't know. I
Ooh,
don't.
are you? Did you just look up metal trap bar and go to Google Images?
Yeah,
Go to the one that says cap bar. It's like an Amazon one. Is that kind of what you were looking at?
cap trap bar.
Cap Olympic Open Trap Bar. It's on Amazon. It's great podcasting, by the way.
Cap Olympic trap
Do you
bar.
see what I'm talking about?
Hold on, I
Do
gotta
you see
type
that
it
one?
out.
No, 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 don't type it out. Just go to the Google Images on Metal Trap Bar and scroll down so you see that one. Okay, this is getting too confusing. We might have to.
I don't see the one that you're talking about. I I just have to take a
Interesting.
picture of the one at the wreck, like to explain the curved handles. I don't get it. It's
Okay.
not Count Dooku. I don't know. I don't know.
Curved handles. Oh, okay, I get that joke now. That took me a second. Yeah, workout gloves. I guess they can be useful. I don't like them. I like getting you know, the metal on the skin. I think it feels nice, but you know,
No, I do too.
it does give you
I've
blisters.
never used gloves before except in the winter, like when I would work out in the field house at home. Like in the bars were just ice cold, but
Mm,
I'd
yeah,
never done that before. But it just absolutely ripped the skin off my palm on the one that I didn't.
interesting. It's just a interesting metal trap bar.
Tough
All
scene.
right. I guess we can wrap up the show here with a little say hello, kiss it goodbye. I have two say hellos. Cam has a kiss it goodbye. And then I guess yeah, we maybe get into some NBA playoff previews like right before the end of the show, like at the very end, to give some predictions. Um, so my say hello, one of them is Mizzou Chess wins again. They're champions again. Just hashtag dynasty right there. I don't know how many times we've won in this century, like the last 25 years or something, but we've won a lot. Like we just consistently have one of the best chess teams. Not one of the best. We have the best chess team. Like we're the Kansas City Chiefs of chess. Um, and I mean, it's just cool. Like sometimes I'll walk into the student center like late at night, like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, just to get some Panda Express and just have a bunch of dudes over there just playing chess. Um, shout out to them, I
Just
guess.
getting better.
Yeah, I don't know like what I don't know how you get better at chess. Like I feel like there's just like a certain strategies that you use, but maybe you just evolve to learn even more strategies. I don't know. I don't know the
I don't
intricacies of it, but
I don't
it's
know.
cool that you can just have like a dominant chess program. When it comes to Mizzou, we're dominant at chess and nuclear reactors.
Yeah,
Just absolutely blow the competition out of the water.
true.
And mascot competitions. Truman just won mascot of the year.
Again,
Yeah.
third time in the history.
I don't know what the qualifications for that
I
are.
don't know. Just rattling off titles
Yeah.
though.
I'd imagine there's like 7 or 8 mascots that it's like that Isaiah Thomas meme where he's like, I met the criteria to be selected, but I wasn't. I don't know. Maybe they just put names in a hat and draw. I don't know. And then my other say hello is Kevin King.
Wow. Say hello.
Yeah, say hello. I got a notification on my phone the other day and it said former Packers cornerback making a comeback. And I was like, whoa, like what former Packers cornerback? My mind immediately went to like Demarius Randall
I didn't know
or
he retired.
Ladarius Gunter. He didn't retire, but he's been out of the league since 2021. And
Wow, that makes me
the
feel
last
old.
game, the last game that he played in was the NFC Championship game against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
Holy moly, I
Whenever
can't
he
believe that was
had
3 years ago.
one of the worst games like of all time. Like Scotty Miller was burning him left and right. Chris Godwin just absolutely just destroyed him the entire game. Um, I mean, one of the worst. I don't want to say he single handedly cost us that game, but I
Pretty
think if we
damn
have just
close.
an average cornerback performance from that position that game, I think we win.
Yeah.
That's how bad he was.
He got signed by the
Uh,
Falcons.
yeah, he went to the Falcons. So I guess I don't really know why they signed him, why they would take that chance, considering they're going to be competing for a division title next year and probably a playoff run. That's not the type of guy you maybe want to have on your roster, but I good on him, I guess, for coming back. Say hello again.
That would be a
Thank God he's
great
not on the
callback
Packers.
though, if like we get to the playoffs and he's just getting torched. That'd be a great callback.
Yeah, but it would actually be kind of. Can you imagine like Packers are playing the Vikings in the divisional round, and like one of the Falcons' top 2 cornerbacks goes down with injury, out for the game. Kevin King comes in and just absolutely locks up like Christian Watson or Dontavian Wicks or something like that and just takes him out of the game. that would suck. And it would be such a Packers thing to happen too.
That threw
But
me
I don't know.
off
I don't
because you
see it
said
happening.
that you just said that the Packers are playing the Vikings in the divisional round, but he signed with the Falcons.
That's what I meant to say was the Falcons. I
Gotcha.
apologize. I just misspoke there.
Okay.
Yeah, but the Packers aren't like the Cardinals. Like when players leave the Packers, they kind of just
They come
tend to
back.
fall off unless they're otherworldly, like Rodgers or Devontae Adams. Like they just kind of, you know, they're done after they leave the Packers. Where the Cardinals, they'll go and they'll like become an all-star. So, or Cy Young or an MVP. But yeah, shout out Kevin King, I guess. Not really. I hate him.
Kiss it goodbye. We already talked about Mizzou Stadium changes, but yeah, current look Mizzou Stadium. I guess kiss it goodbye by 2026. You've got plenty of time to kiss it, I guess, still. And
Yeah,
then was gonna be a see a bitch
you
of
can
the
make
week.
out with it actually. That's how
I
long you have.
sure, but kiss it goodbye is OJ. OJ Simpson. Kiss him goodbye. Happy trails. Yeah. Passed away. Um, and the meme internet went nuts. That's basically all you can
Yeah.
really say about it.
Should we run down some real quick here?
Yeah, go. Yeah, let's fire
Yeah,
some off.
yeah. I mean, he probably felt good knowing that his wife's killer is finally dead.
There you go.
Yeah,
That,
I was just gonna alternate them here, me and you,
yeah,
going back
I'll
and
be
forth.
honest. I don't remember the like the worded ones off the top of my head, but just some of the ones that people posted, like just like how they would just post like his highlight tape and would just post like all his accolades, like only running back to have a 2,000-yard rushing season in 14 games, Heisman winner, Hall of Famer, one ticket to hell. Like that's just at the very bottom. While it's just played his highlight tape and it's just Highway to Hell by AC/DC playing in the background. Just stuff like that. That stuff was just really good. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's such
We
a
know
big
he's looking
figure.
up at us. That was another
Yeah,
big
I
one.
know he's looking up at us right now. Just a big
Man.
moment for everybody. Like he is a figure that everybody knows, whether you're a sports fan or not. Like you just apparently just it was before our time, but you just know about that case, that court case.
Yeah,
So
I mean, it was I remember talking to my parents about it sometimes. Like my mom knows a lot about it because she was in high school whenever that was going on, and that was like all that anyone was talking about during it. Like it was just that big of a thing. Like I don't know if you remember the Johnny Depp case a couple years ago,
yeah,
but it was like that on steroids.
yeah,
Just like it was everywhere. It might even be bigger than what the Trump ones are about to be, which is insane when you think about that
probably,
Donald
yeah.
Trump. Um, I mean, it was just big. That was one thing I wish I was kind of alive for. There's a few things like in the 19th century that I wish I could go back and just be alive for like that certain period of time. I wish I could watch a Bob Gibson start
There's a
in
30 for
1968.
30 on that entire day because at the same time, I can't remember if it was the Masters but like the NBA, there was like a huge NBA
NBA Finals.
playoff
Yeah, it
game
was the
going on
finals.
between so not the Masters.
I
It
saw the
was like
clip
the
the other day.
Knicks and somebody, I want to say. Maybe the Rockets? I don't know.
That
Um,
sounds right.
I think it was when Jordan wasn't there anymore. Like he had retired for that short period.
Yeah.
And then you had this chase going on in the background, and I want to say maybe I can't remember there was one other huge thing going on at simultaneously. Um, all the while,
Yeah,
my aunt and uncle got married on that day.
funny.
Interestingly enough,
It's like getting married on 9/11.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, just
Yeah,
happy
I
trails,
saw the clip
OJ.
the other day of when like they were going to commercial break during the NBA Finals, and they're just like, "We have breaking news from the ESPN studios," and it's just like O.J. Simpson is being chased
Yeah, I
by
kind of
tens of cops just down this highway here in his Ford Bronco. Shout out Lance Lynn, also as a Ford Bronco. I don't think he killed anyone though.
yeah. Let's tell you what. Earlier that day, the New York Rangers had their Stanley Cup parade. The U.S. Open took place, and the World Cup kicked off. But that night, all hell broke loose when NBC had to cut into an NBA Finals game to show Al Crawlins driving O.J. Simpson around the Los Angeles area in a white Ford Bronco. June 17th, 1994, wildest day in sports history.
That is crazy. June 17th, 1994. We're coming up on the 30-year anniversary of that.
Yeah, yeah,
That's going to be everywhere this year, especially because he just died. I
yeah.
mean, that's gonna be everywhere.
Pretty
Um,
cool.
yeah, great way to end the show.
There you go.
OJ's death. Um, yeah, NBA playoffs are getting ready to start Saturday. First round kicks off. I think the NHL playoffs are getting ready to start too, but we'll probably just we'll talk the preview. Then.
Yeah.
I don't think the seating's set yet or the schedule or
Nope.
anything. So
Not entirely.
yeah, I want to wait until that comes out. NBA Finals prediction. You tend to
Nuggets
be pretty
Celtics.
good at this. So
Yeah, I got Nuggets Celtics.
okay. Damn, I was gonna go with the same thing, but you know what? I will. I got the Lakers hat on, but I'm gonna trust my dream here, even though that's a very bad thing, especially some of the dreams I've had this week. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Clippers. Why not? Give me the
Over.
Clippers. Um, it's hard to pick anyone but the Celtics, so I guess I'll go with the Celtics. Even though I think if that is the finals, I think the Celtics will probably just beat them.
Yeah, I actually think Probably too, yeah.
Like the
Although,
Nuggets, I think might be the only team that can
what
beat
if
them.
Kawhi just has like one more run in
Yeah,
him? One more in him.
he's healthy. This might be the healthiest he's been since Toronto.
Whatever that
I don't
means.
know.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Clippers are an interesting team. I mean, they got Kawhi, one of the like historic, just like elevates his game in the playoffs. Paul George. I mean, you
Playoff
never know what
P.
you're going to get with him. And then you have James Harden, who consistently downgrades his play in the playoffs, it seems like. And then you have Russell Westbrook, who, I don't
Crazy
know.
4 names for one team. That's nuts
Yeah.
still.
I mean, it doesn't make sense how it works out. And I think Tyronn Lue is still their coach,
Yeah, he is.
NBA Finals champion.
Shout out Mexico, Missouri.
Um,
There you
yeah,
go.
that's funny. Yeah, give me the Clippers over the Celtics.
All right. That would be really cool. It would be. I don't like the
It,
Clippers at all,
yeah,
but that'd be really cool.
yeah. All
All
right,
right. That's the
that's it.
show.
Yeah, we'll see you guys. I would say
Who
next
knows?
week, but I don't know. We've been really inconsistent with the shows lately. Like
Yep.
we just had to catch up on like a month's worth of information in the first 30 minutes. Um, yeah, we just been really busy, and these next 3 weeks are the last 3 weeks of the semester. So I mean, after these next 3 weeks, I think we should be pretty consistent with the shows, even though there'll be less news and less stuff to talk about. But yeah, I don't know. Probably at least one within the next 3 weeks, I would say. But after that, it might. I don't know. Just check every Friday to see if there's a show. That's the advice. Yeah, we'll see you next time.